Diamond Springs, right? And this is JEC Firearms Cerakote, and this is where I got my watch Cerakoted. And right here, this is John. What's your last name?
Kristen.
Hey, and he's the owner here, and I guess he's the main guy in this, pretty much this whole area around SAC and thereabouts that most people go to get their firearms Cerakoted. Yep. And I guess can we just take a quick look at just whatever you have in there, just if you don't mind. All right. So we'll just do this pretty quickly. Obviously, these are components to an AR rifle, I believe, of some sort. Yep. And do you do any prep work to the metal parts, or do you just go?
No, you have to sandblast them and clean them and degrease them all.
Okay, and then after that, then it's basically ready to get the Cerakote applied to it, and you do a custom mix of whatever color there is, right? Yep. And is there an example of one that's finished or somewhat finished? Or?
Yeah, getting out of that.
Okay. And how long does it take? Do you say from start to finish?
34 hours.
Okay. Just do this. So about 3 to 4 hours to do a job. And nice. So wait, it's been Cerakote, but then is the color actually?
Yeah.
Individually like Cerakoted paint?
This is Cerakoted.
Oh, cool. I thought maybe it would be one thing and then you just, sprayed a regular paint over it.
You can do solid colors or you can do custom designs.
So what is the point of Cerakoting a rifle? Because usually they're pretty durable already. Is it just basically to get custom color and design on it?
Yeah, custom colors, and then also the durability. This Cerakote will last longer than the factory finish.
And anything that you would probably try to spray on there to color it, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of, you get a mix of jobs, but mostly firearms?
Yeah, majority firearms, and then there are some automotive parts.
Okay.
And then, just random stuff like what you got, the watch and some Yeti cups and that kind of stuff.
Which would you say is, I don't know, maybe your most unique or strange or something that you didn't expect to Cerakote, maybe besides my watch?
Sunglasses. I do sunglasses.
People do Cerakote sunglasses? Yeah. It doesn't actually make them harder, right? It's just to put the finish.
Just to put the custom colors on them.
Oh, but obviously the sunglasses should be made of metal, right?
No, they can be out of plastic too. So.
Oh, I thought maybe because it's baked, right? It would melt the thing.
Oakley sunglasses actually do it in factory themselves.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, and then all right. So here's the piece that I got Cerakoted, and it's just black graphite, pretty standard color, and I think this would be great for this military stealthy kind of theme that I'm going to go for on this custom build, and this should last pretty good. Got every part that I needed covered. Some spots that are open will likely be pretty covered up by the other components, such as the crown right here and the bezel that's going to go across the top. I know that the tolerances are pretty close, and I think overall it should be fine. I think if I spot anything, maybe I could just touch it up anyways with a little paint if needs be, because I don't think it's much is going to happen in there. But overall, I think it looks pretty nice, and you actually were able to retain even the detail on the case back here in the writing. I thought maybe something like that get filled up, but I'm very excited to get this back, and you gave me a great price on this, considering most places that I've checked around that are like in Detroit or someplace that they charge over $100 or something, and the wait time is insane, like several weeks out, maybe a couple of months. So thank you for getting this done for me, and I guess if I have some more, I'll definitely give you a call, or anybody else that's interested. You don't mind, I'll send them your way as a good referral for someone to do this kind of stuff. All right, well, all right, thanks a lot. Okay, just gonna take a closer look at the Cerakoted case after I got it back from JEC Firearms Cerakote, and let's unscrew this. So I take it this was spray painted with this on, so the back is cool, shouldn't have anything, and it retains most of the detail, you can see, although, let's see if I can focus in on that better. The movement, the 7S to 6 movement that originally would be in a SKX, it's not going to be. It's going to be the NH35. I'm sorry, 36A, which has handing and hack winding, handing and hacking and hand winding, and at least I think 38 hours power reserve, more or less, right? Something like that. And some overspray in here, but I think I can clean that out probably. Let's see. But so no problem in the back, and it should be pretty clear on the back there to put that gasket back in, and it'll probably lock down just fine. So I'm just gonna close this up so you can see what it's gonna look like. I was thinking about just leaving it uncerakoted, just silver on the back, but I figured what the hell, it's not going to cost that much more, and it'll just match everything better. So overall, I think the finish is pretty good. He left some space around there just because the crown will make contact with it and cover it anyway, so I'm not really tripping about that. It should be fine. And I'll show you, this is the is it DLW? Yeah. Black PVD signed S crown for an SKX. It's got a double gasket, which I think even the stock SKX does not have that. But let me see if I can carefully, I really should have this thing silicone greased before I stick it in here. But you can see once, I just want to show you really quickly, once it's screwed down, you can't really see any of the silver areas around the crown or guards on the inside much, if at all. I think it'll carry itself just fine like that, and it's a pretty good match, don't you think? I'm probably going to paint this too, but that'll be later. Anyways, let me pull this back out. Okay, so I'm going to stick that away for a second so I don't lose it. But so far so good for that part of it. The trick with this was just making sure that they masked off enough of the area and left enough, because my concern was, this is basically what I'm doing, is I'm taking the SARB 063 bezel, and it comes with the insert, and it's just like this, but it's in black. It's kind of the reverse. It's in black PVD with white lettering in there, and I think there's red too, at least a little bit. And my concern was, you know, there's such a tight tolerance between the bezel and the case. If I cerakoted it without all the way to the top of it, the case, I don't know if when I put the bezel back on, will it be too tight, you know, fit, because there's very little space in between, as you can see there. I don't know. So I wanted to make sure at least where it makes contact was clear. And so my concern was that. And so he did mask it off. And I think the way that, see the edge in here, I don't know if I can focus on this better. It gets really right there up to the edge, so that bezel, so I mean, as long as it basically the Cerakote paint comes up there, I think I'm good. My only concern is probably this part needs a little bit of touching up right here. You can see kind of like, even from this angle, probably back it up a little bit, it's not focusing enough. But you can kind of see it right there. It's just a little bit that didn't get covered. I could probably just use some matte black paint and just fill it in. It'll probably never be noticed after that. Once the bezel's on top and at the angle that it's going to be at on the wrist and everything, it's going to be overshadowed by a bezel anyways most of the time, so not bloody likely you're going to see anything there. And I'm just wondering all the way around the edge. This was a slight concern too. Right there, see how it's not, it doesn't have to be even, but I just want to make sure enough of that Cerakote in black graphite is in enough, and I think it should be. Let me just double check the way it is on here. See, that bezel really overhangs anyways, and I'm just thinking where it meets. I think it'll just cover it just enough. If you look closely, if I can focus this, see right there? Sorry about my dry fingers, the weather's where I can have it so cold. There is like a fine line right there, like a little curved edge. You can make out that edge there in the highlight, and I think that's probably where the bezel will probably run over that area a bit. Though it does extend out onto the lugs a bit, and does it actually do that on here? Hard to see. Maybe I can see it from this side. On this side instead, like, give me an idea. I think it'll be fine. Not too worried about around here, because the bezel really does come really. I guess that's what I have to look at. See that, how that, see that fine beveling. Is it, you call it chamfer? I guess there's a slight bevel, right, just right in this edge. You can see that highlight for sure. That part of it. The top of that edge. Okay, I don't know where it got cut off. I think I showed enough of it. I didn't put this on yet. There would be a gasket in here. I just wanted to see. This is what this basically should look like with everything. But I wanted to see in here, and I think, yeah, I think hands casting a shadow. Have enough. You can see right there, there's that silver edge. It didn't get paint over into it just enough. You really needed to paint it in there more. Well, the majority of this is covered in Cerakote, which is fine. It's just right up in there. That's definitely one area there. And probably you can sort of see, it's not as obvious, but I don't know, once this thing locks down, I really don't want to commit to it just yet. There's that I mentioned earlier, and probably, yeah, more than likely I gotta do something about that edge right there, and on this side too. Yeah, you put like an O-ring or something to help mask it off, or slip it in or something, but I don't think that, I think it was probably a little too fat and probably covered more than you needed to. Yeah, that should have really covered in a little bit more than that. So I think if I take some black enamel, paint flat black, I should be able to get up in there and cover most of that area that's silver, and it probably won't show up that badly. That's too bad. I was really hoping that I would have just done it, but I guess I do have to do some touch-up work on here, and I mean, yeah, I really should bring it back to him and have him redo it, but he's like 50 miles. Is it 50 miles? Almost 50 miles out. It took me at least an hour, a little bit more than that from my actual home, but you know, anywhere from an hour to almost an hour and a half to get out there. And yeah, I don't really want to go back. And I think, again, enough of this is here that's covered that I don't think I have to really trip about it too much. If I just use a good matte enamel, I think it should hold just fine in that spot. And you know, with everything pieced together, it'll probably cover it just okay. Anyways, these are the brakes. I really just don't feel like sanding it back. I do wish this was more matte, but it's not a big deal. I think overall it still works. You know, the look of it, and once I piece it all together, it should be fine. So yeah, I am going to have to. What's that notch for? I guess it's probably for that bezel. Insert, I think. Anyways, I don't want this to get too long, so yeah, I am going to have to just do some touch-up work. So I'll probably come back and revisit this in a little bit, and I don't know, maybe I might make a part 3B, or maybe I should just do it all together. Yeah, I'll probably piece it all together and put it in one part before I publish this. Alright, anyways, this was a quick look at the Cerakote job, which mostly came out good, but I mean, where it needed to meet that bezel, really needed to get it closer to cover it better, but I think I can fix that and it should be fine. Anyways, I'll show you the fix in a little bit. Probably right after this, I'll edit it in. Alright, thanks, bye. I did go ahead and make some touch-up work on this. Sorry I didn't film it. I was kind of going back and forth debating whether I should use the paint that I had or go get something special, or I just decided to just go with what I had. So I looked at it and I think it'll work, and I wasn't sure if it would because the black, it looks like it's matte black, but you know, there is different degrees of black even. And I was thinking the black I had, maybe too black, you know, it might actually look darker than what's here, because this is supposed to be graphite black, which I guess technically is a really, really, really dark gray, but it's basically flat black. Anyways, if you recall, just prior to this, how this edge here was kind of showing through the metal still, because the guy didn't exactly mask off too much, I guess, and this should have been painted more in as it is. But as you can see, it's not a bad match what I have, and I think it'll fly. You know, you don't see any. What are you doing, Mister? You don't see any real change in the tonality too much. It's a smooth transition. It probably could be smoother, but it's not at all bad. And you think about it, once this bezel is inserted like so, and it'll rotate, but you know, it'll come down a lot closer to the case. Hope you can see that. And it'll just this edge here that's overhanging, you see, it's going to cover so much from most angles, you're not going to be able to tell, you know, shadows casted down on it and whatnot. It's got a ways to go, but it'll be fine. You're not going to even tell. I even went back in and try to color this in here as well. As you recall, it was a little bit showing through the metal, which would have been fine because the crown would have covered it anyways, but I figured it would look more complete if it was black like the rest of it, and I think it should be fine like this now. I don't think anyone's really gonna be able to tell very where it begins and ends necessarily. Yeah, I think I did pretty well there. I think I might just touch up that tiny spot. I think there's one little speck there that I could probably add some paint into, but other than that, I think it's basically ready to go, because I really didn't want to drive up and another 50 minutes or more just to drop this off and have them redo it again and then find the time to go back and pick it up. Just want to keep moving forward with this project. So anyways, that's where I'm at. So the next thing will probably be the dial itself. I'm gonna have to modify that before I put it back onto that movement that I reclaimed, the NH36A, and that's gonna be a project in itself to customize that a little bit, and then the hands, and then once all those are done, I think I can start, you know, I can assemble everything onto the movement and then start placing everything into the case, and it's just start coming together pretty fast after that point, because there's really not much modifications to be done other than basic, there shouldn't be any. It's just assembly after that point. It's just basically the dial and the hands that need to get some relume on the hands, and maybe paint the tips color coded like I spec'd out in part 1, and finding a way to customize the dial, probably by removing the Seiko 5 logo and placing in something else. Or I might paint it, I don't know yet. We'll see. You'll see. Thanks. Bye.